If you've ever believed that you need to work harder, longer, and hustle more just to make more money, then give me 10 minutes of your time, and I promise you, by the end of this, you'll never look at money the same way again. This isn't about budgets, business plans, or side hustles. This is about identity. You see, most people have it completely backwards. They think money is something you earn through action alone. But what if I told you that money is actually attracted, not through effort, but through the identity you accept as true? That's right. Money responds not to what you do, but to who you are being. That's the real secret. And in this video, we're going to uncover how to stop chasing money and start becoming the kind of person to whom money naturally flows. This is not just theory. This is Neville Goddard's way of transforming reality through imagination, and today we're applying it directly to money. So stick around, because by the end, you'll have a completely new relationship with wealth, and more importantly, with yourself. Let's get started. The biggest illusion we've been sold is that money only comes from grinding day and night. We're told to go to school, get a job, clock in and clock out, save a bit here, invest a bit there, and maybe, just maybe, after 40 years of effort, we'll finally have enough. But what if that entire system was built on a false premise? Neville Goddard taught that everything we experience in the outer world is simply a reflection of who we are on the inside. So if you believe you're poor, struggling, or bad with money, life will obediently reflect that back to you, even if you're working like crazy. On the other hand, if you begin to assume the identity of someone who is naturally wealthy, someone to whom money comes with ease, someone who expects prosperity, then your outer world must conform to that assumption. Not because you deserve it more or worked harder, but because your identity changed. This is the law. As within, so without. That means your job is not to chase dollars, but to become the version of you that already lives in financial freedom. When you think like the wealthy, speak like the wealthy, and, most importantly, feel like the wealthy, you shift your frequency. And money is a mirror. It reflects whatever you're broadcasting. Just think about it. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to always attract money, even if they lose it? They'll get fired from a job and suddenly have a new opportunity. They make mistakes, but land on their feet. It's not luck, it's identity. Deep down, they believe they are wealthy, or at least deserving of it. Their outer life simply catches up to their inner knowing. That's why trying to change your finances by only changing your job, or your strategy, or your investments rarely works long-term. Because if you don't change your identity, the money will either never come, or it will slip through your fingers. You cannot outperform your self-concept. You may get temporary success, but if it doesn't match your identity, it won't last. This is why lottery winners go broke, and why people born into poverty can rise to riches. It all comes back to who they believe they are. Neville was crystal clear. To be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. So let's talk practically. How do you do that? How do you go from thinking like a broke person to living as someone wealthy, even if your bank account says otherwise? It starts in imagination. Neville's method is simple but powerful. Imagine yourself already in possession of the wealth you desire, and feel it as real. Not as a fantasy, not as a wish, but as an actual, lived experience. When you lay down at night, don't rehearse your worries or repeat the lack of today. Rehearse abundance. See yourself logging into your bank account and seeing the balance you desire. Hear the confirmation of payments received. Feel the joy of financial freedom, not from hope, but from certainty. Why? Because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. It only knows repetition and feeling. If you repeatedly feel broke, you train your subconscious to maintain that state. But if you repeatedly feel wealthy, you teach it to shift your identity. And once your identity shifts, your world must follow. This is not optional. It's law. Identity comes first, then manifestation. So the question is, who are you being? Not what are you doing. Who are you being when it comes to money? Are you being someone who constantly talks about how hard things are? Someone who doubts, worries, and compares? Or are you being someone who knows money comes easily, who expects good things, who walks through the world with confidence and ease? The shift begins with awareness. And here's where it gets real. You cannot fake this. You can't affirm, "I'm rich," a few times and expect millions to show up. You have to live it internally first. Your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions, all must align with the wealthy version of you. It's about becoming. When you become it, you don't need to force money to come. It comes because you're the kind of person it comes to. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people walk into the same room. One is confident, dressed well, speaks clearly, and assumes they belong. The other one is nervous, unsure, constantly apologizing for being there. Who do you think people naturally gravitate toward? Who do you think gets offered opportunities, attention, trust? It's not about skills, it's about identity. The world treats you how you treat yourself. Money is the same way. If you treat money like it's rare, like it's hard to get, like you don't deserve it, you create resistance. But if you treat money as a friend, as something that flows, something you're aligned with, you open the gates. Your energy becomes magnetic. This is why people with a rich identity seem to attract more without trying. They've removed resistance. They've accepted prosperity as their normal. You have to train your nervous system to be calm with wealth. Most people are unconsciously afraid of being rich. They fear responsibility, or loss, or judgment. And that fear creates inner conflict. But when you train yourself to feel at home with abundance, to expect it, to relax in it, then money no longer feels foreign. It feels natural. And what feels natural becomes normal. And what's normal becomes your reality. This is why I say, money isn't earned, it's attracted through identity. That doesn't mean you sit on the couch doing nothing. It means your actions flow from your new identity. You don't act to get money. You act because you already are someone wealthy. And when you act from that place, your moves carry power. Your decisions change. Your standards change. You no longer chase, you choose. And life responds. And here's the part you've been waiting for. The moment when everything begins to settle in, not just in your mind, but in your being. If you've stayed with me this long, then it's because something inside you is waking up. Something deeper than motivation, deeper than surface-level belief. It's the remembering of who you really are. Because you didn't just find this message by accident. You were drawn to it because a part of you has always known the truth, that you were never meant to struggle endlessly, that you were never meant to live in fear of not having enough, and that abundance was always meant to be your natural state. You're not here to hustle forever. You're not here to fight for scraps while doubting your worth. You are here to realize the power of your own identity. To understand that the true currency in this world isn't effort, it's embodiment. It's identity. Because once you know who you are, everything you were trying to get begins trying to find you. Because once you know who you are, everything you were trying to get begins trying to find you. You delay the arrival of what's already yours. So how do you become this new identity in a real, lasting way? You start by making it familiar. Every single day, you wake up and remember who you are. You tell yourself a new story. You walk differently. You speak from vision, not from history. You invest in yourself, not just financially, but energetically. You don't shrink to fit old situations. You expand to match your new standard. And when fear shows up, you don't fight it, you lead it. You say, I see you, but I no longer follow you. E follow truth. E follow abundância. E follow identity. And here's the most powerful part. The more you embody that identity, the less effort you need to make things happen. Because money, opportunities, and people begin flowing to you through channels you didn't even know existed. The universe begins to rearrange itself in response to the new vibration you hold. And it's not magic, it's alignment. That's what most people miss. They keep trying to do more, when the answer is to be more. When you become the person who has it, the path reveals itself. You no longer chase, you magnetize. You no longer plead, you decide. Eu no longer look outward, you trust inward. That's the kind of shift that changes not just your income, but your entire life. Because when your self-concept is rooted in abundance, you start seeing it everywhere. In the ideas that come to you. In the connections you make. In the courage you suddenly have. And that's when you realize, you were never far from wealth. You were just temporarily disconnected from the version of you who already had it. So if you're still listening, this is your moment. Not next week. Not when the bills are paid. Not when someone else believes in you. Right now. Declare it. Claim it. Assume the identity of the wealthy, abundant, financially free version of yourself. Not because you've earned it through suffering, but because you've remembered it through truth. And here's the part you've been waiting for, the moment everything clicks into place. If you've made it this far, then something inside you is already shifting. You're no longer just someone who wants money, you're becoming someone to whom money naturally comes. That's the key, you're not chasing wealth anymore, you're aligning with it. You're remembering that this is not about what you do, it's about who you are. And now, you have a choice to make. You can either go back to your old identity, the one that believes money is hard, the one that waits for the perfect job, the one that hopes but doubts, or you can step fully into the new identity you've started to claim today. The identity of someone who is already rich in spirit, rich in confidence, rich in energy, and therefore rich in results. From this moment forward, every time you think about money, remind yourself, it's not something outside of me, it's something I already carry within. Walk with that. Speak from that. Make decisions from that place. And if doubts creep in, don't argue with them. Just return to the end. Live as if it's done. Feel it real. Let your imagination become your greatest financial tool. Because no matter what your past has looked like, no matter what your bank account says today, you can always change your identity. And when you do, the world has no choice but to follow. This is not magic, it's law. So go ahead. Start now. Don't wait for evidence. Become the evidence. Re-listen to this every time you forget who you are. And remember, money isn't earned, it's attracted through identity. And your new identity is already waiting.